lot for joining us on the program Daybreak Nigeria, coming to you live from television Nigeria. And we are broadcasting live from Busape Hills, Asokoro, in the Federal Capital Territory of Nigeria. My name is Nten Ekman, and I'm glad to welcome you. Wherever you're watching us, we're happy that you're watching from your living room, from your parlor, wherever you are, in your office, however you're watching. This is Television Nigeria, and it's a daybreak program where we bring you all that you need to know in Nigeria, beginning from business, sports, arts and culture, style, lifestyle, and every other thing put together in this Daybreak Magazine program. Once again, I'm glad you could join us. Well, for me, for the contents of today, of course, you know that there's been this impending strike threat from the Nigerian Labour Congress and other affiliate bodies about the new national minimum wage. And of course, you know that NLC is saying let's peg it at 30,000 naira, and as of yesterday evening, the governors came to say we can afford to pay 22,500 naira. Now, Labour has threatened that if it is not implemented, 30,000 naira, come 6th of November, they are going to embark on a full-scale strike. Well, to put this into perspective for us, there's a report sent from our correspondent all the way from Kaduna State, and the report is presented in our studio. Let's check out what happened right there.
NLC, Trade Union Congress and other allies have joined their counterparts nationwide in a sensitization rally ahead of the November 6, 2018 deadline issued to federal and state governments to perfect the payment of the 30,000 minimum wage. Addressing workers in the state, the representative of NLC leadership, Comrade John Adaji, called on the Labour Union to commence indefinite strike in November 6, 2018 to press their demand. Comrade Adaji said it is in the best interest of the government to implement the 30,000 agreed as the national minimum wage for Nigerian workers.
On the lingering issue of new national minimum wage, we hereby call on all workers in Kaduna State to commence an indefinite national strike and industrial action from Tuesday, November 6th, 2018, as directed by NLC, except, and I repeat, except, if government accepts and commence the process of perfecting the payment of 30,000 as the negotiated and compromised new national minimum wage before that date.
The Labour Union leaders hinted that Nigerian workers are well prepared to embark on the indefinite strike action on the said date.
Labour are ever willing to give their contribution. And if you look at our motto, Labour creates wealth, we do that with a lot of enthusiasm. We like to be on duty because we equally know the society we are. The social vices we have today is because of the numbers of unemployed youth. So when somebody is fully engaged, it goes a long way in taking him away from all social vices.
If you see Labour going on strike, it means they have already exhausted all avenues of negotiation. And at the end of the day, we now realize that we are just flogging a dead horse. So the issue is to speak a language that they can always understand. Because if, for example, we negotiated with them, we have met with them, we have written letters as to they are going back on the negotiating table, and they refused. It was only when we went on strike, warning strike, that they came back on board. So it seems as if, these problems are always being caused by government.
Have agreed to come together because they understand that if we continue to play each one to go on his way, that at the end of the day, it is the grass that will suffer. And that is the reason why we have seen reason why we should come together. The three labor centers, the Nigerian Labour Congress, the United Labour Congress, and then the TUC, Trade Union Congress. We have all agreed to come together to ensure that this strike is effective.
The Labour Union in Kaduna observed the sensitization rally peacefully within the Labour House without taking to the streets of Kaduna metropolis due to the recent security challenge in the state.
Well, it's not just in Kaduna State, it's going to be across the nation if government fails to implement the 30,000 naira as put forward by the Labour leaders. Well, if you ask me, I think that's just fair enough. It won't be too much from 18,000 to 30. That's just about 12,000 naira increment. But the government is saying, okay, we can just increase it by 2,005. Abysmal if you ask me. Well, a second concern for the day, of course, yesterday was, the final march of the Shiite movement in Nigeria, protesting, for the release of their leader El-Zakzaky and other demands of the association. It went a bit, violent. There were reports of about 50 people killed and stuff like that. And of course, there's been this disagreement between people and analysts saying that they were unarmed and people saying they were armed with stones, machetes, sling ropes and all of that. But at the end of the day, our reporter was there in the field. And of course, sad to say, like they say in journalism, the business of journalism, hazards and glamour. One of the hazards was that our reporter yesterday was part of those who sustained minor injuries. But that aside, let's go to the street and find out what happened in that movement.
Of the Islamic State of Nigeria, popularly known as the Shiite movement, on Tuesday continued their air-buying morning march in Abuja in defiance of the security operatives' warning against the march and despite suffering casualties in the fracas that ensued on Monday's march in Abuja, which led to the loss of lives and injuries by the members of the movement. Tuesday's march was, however, disrupted again by security operatives who tried to stop the march as it went underway in the city center, which also resulted in some confusion, with security operatives shooting tear gas canisters sporadically to disperse the procession. Tuesday's procession, however, bring to a close the annual three-day mourning procession, which the sect observes as religious obligation, and through they have continued their protests, demands for the release of their detained spiritual leader, El-Zakzaky, and his wife, who have been in detention since December 2015.
Thank you, Nsika, and I'm glad that you were safe. And of course, she who was slightly injured, he's also safe and right here in the studio. You're still watching Daybreak Nigeria, coming to you live on television Nigeria. We'll take a very short break, and when we come back, next is going to be the news. Stay around. For almost a decade, the Nigerian army have given their all to ensure that our dear country is not overrun by Boko Haram insurgents. Some have in the process paid the ultimate price, while many will forever live with indelible scars occasioned by their determination to protect the country, no matter the hurdle. Despite these, they have remained resolute and undaunted, and today, all territories the insurgents once took control of have been recaptured and normalcy restored. And now, for the first time in a long time, the end of Boko Haram is foreseeable. Therefore, the wisest thing for the remaining insurgents to do is to surrender today or face total destruction from the army. Remember, the Nigerian army will stop at nothing to ensure that total peace is restored in all parts of the country. So, be wise and embrace peace today, or get ready to be ruthlessly dealt with. This message is brought to you by the Coalition on Conflict Resolution and Human Rights in Nigeria. Welcome to the new segment of Daybreak Nigeria. Nigerians in the diaspora under the umbrella of European Coalition for Security and Democracy in Nigeria, ECSDN, will hold an online poll November 1st to vote for a presidential candidate from among the 74 candidates approved by INEC for the 2019 presidential elections holding in February 2019. In a statement from the Hungary-based body, the coordinator of the platform, Fafore Abiodun, stated that the election will take place live on the group's YouTube channel, Nelson M46664, on November 1 by 5 p.m. Nigerian time. In a latest speech which has gone viral, the global coordinator of the coalition, Frederick Odorigi, stated that it was shameful to see that members of the political class are engaged in fights which have culminated in the deaths of innocent Nigerians because of their greed and lust for power. Odorigi stated that for too long, Nigerians have been shortchanged by the political class and urged Nigerians to use the 2019 elections to say no to insecurity, disenfranchisement, corruption, rigging, bogus salaries for federal legislators, murderous herdsmen, health tourism for public office holders, budget padding, detention of Nigerians without trial, recycled leaders, and indiscriminate allocation of all blacks, among others. A professor with Crop Production Department of Modibo Adamawa University of Technology, Maotech Yola, Professor Alan Kodams, has been kidnapped 2 weeks after another professor, Ibrahim Adamu of Soil Science of the same university, was kidnapped but released after 1 day. The registrar of the university, Hajia Halima Bala, who confirmed the kidnapping of Kadam during an interview with newsmen, said the incident took place in the early hours of Tuesday at about 2 a.m. Also confirming the incident while speaking with newsmen, the police public relations officer for Police Command in Adamawa, SP Othman Abubakar, said the command had dispatched its personnel to track and rescue the professor. The Katsina State government said it has earmarked 24.6 billion of its capital budget for 2019 in tackling environmental challenges in the state. The amount represents 16.6% of the 148 billion allocated to capital projects in the 2019 budget currently before the State House of Assembly, as confirmed by the Special Advisor to Governor Aminu Masori on Budget and Economic Planning, Alhaji Abdullahi Imam, while giving details of the state's 2019 budget in Katsina on Tuesday. Imam said that the environmental sector received 24.6 billion, which is the highest allocation in the budget to address environmental issues. A former nurse has admitted murdering 100 patients during the first day of his trial, making him one of Germany's worst post-war serial killers. Detectives say Niels Hagel, 41, administered fatal doses of medication to the people in his care at 2 hospitals in northern Germany. His motive, prosecutors say, was to impress colleagues by resuscitating the very patients he had attacked, while the murderous nurse, who is already serving a life term for 6 deaths, is said to have killed 36 patients in Oldenburg and 64 in nearby Delmenhurst between 1999 and 2005. The current trial, which started with a minute's silence for the victims, is expected to last until May and comes years of toxicology tests on 130 sets of exhumed remains. And that's the news on Daybreak Nigeria this time. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the program continues. Don't go away. Welcome back from the news segment. You're still watching Daybreak Nigeria, coming to you live from television Nigeria, with me in 10 Ekman. In business this morning, Naira depreciates to 360.5 Naira to the dollar in the parallel market. Details of these with Chinwendu Osisiogu in business news. Stay with us. Tell them when you have like
Welcome
that.
to Business News. I am Chiwendu Osisiego.
The
The Naira on Monday depreciated to 360.5 Naira per dollar in the parallel market. According to reports, the live exchange rate platform of the Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, the parallel market exchange rose to 360.5 Naira per dollar from 360 Naira per dollar last week Friday, indicating 50 kobo depreciation of the Naira. However, the Naira yesterday appreciated in the investors and exporters window, even as the volume of dollars traded declined by 57%. Data from financial market dealers' quotation showed that indicative exchange rates for the windows dropped to 363.58 Naira per dollar yesterday from 363.84 Naira per dollar last week Friday, translating to 26 kobo appreciation of the Naira. The Central Bank of Nigeria has listed only 34 firms as licensed primary mortgage banks in Nigeria. According to the list released by the regulator on Monday, 50% of the banks are operating in Lagos, and from its record, the CBN said 70 of the primary mortgage banks were in Lagos, 8 in Abuja, 2 in Akwa Ibom, while Oyo, Delta, Ogun, Kebbi, Jigawa, Abia, and Osun have one each. However, in September, it was recorded that the CBN gave a notification to revoke the operating licenses of 182 other financial institutions in the country, of which 6 primary mortgage banks were included, and 154 of the affected institutions are microfinance banks, while the remaining 22 are finance companies. The CBN says 62 of the microfinance banks had already closed down, 74 became insolvent, and 12 terminally distressed, while 6 voluntarily liquidated. The CBN listed the primary mortgage banks for revocation as Accord Savings and Loans Limited in Lagos that failed to recapitalize, and Accord Savings and Loans Limited in Anambra went out of business. The Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative has clarified that the sum of $22.06 billion and 481.75 billion naira listed are yet to be remitted to the Federation account by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation and its subsidiary. According to Nigerian Extractive Industry Transparency Initiative, some reconciliation has taken place and some remittances would as well be looked into, adding that its 2015 and 2016 reports will be due for release in December this year to provide a proper update on the actual figures outstanding. In this report, it was recorded that the NNPC alone had yet to remit total revenues of $19.04 billion and 424.57 billion naira, and the breakdown of the unremitted revenues by the other firms as well as oil and gas producing companies were still withholding $152.69 million and 5.2 billion naira. Meanwhile, the irreconcilable differences arising from the allocations, sales, and remittance of proceeds from domestic crude allocated to the NNPC amounted to 317.48 billion naira. That's the business news from Television Nigeria. I am Chiwendu Osisiego. Thanks for watching.
For that business package. And of course, in the world of business, you can always count on us to bring you the latest that is happening there. And so you can have an informed decision on what to do, what businesses to invest in, and stocks to buy at what time. Moving ahead now, have you ever thought of the effects of drug abuse and addiction? Have you ever thought of its impact in your life? Have you ever thought of how you can be affected if someone close to you is affected by this? Well, for these and more, in the world of healthy living, let's join Tyann Odwa.
Welcome to this episode of Healthy Living. We'll be looking at
The effects of drug abuse and addictions. Drugs are chemicals that affect the brain and body generally. A lot of drugs can have diverse negative effects. Some of these health consequences can last for a long time and can remain permanent. They can even continue after a person has stopped taking the drugs. More than 10 million persons suffer from drug disorder in the world. As a matter of fact, more deaths, illnesses, and disabilities begin from the effects of drug abuse than any other health condition. People suffering from drug addiction have a higher risk of unintentional injuries, accidents, and domestic violence. Drug abuse, also known as substance disorder, is caused by the habitual taking of addictive substances. This includes marijuana, tramadol, codeine, cocaine, and many more. Okay. Now let's see the health problems associated with taking hard drugs. It weakens the immune system, which increases more chances for infections. Causes cardiovascular conditions ranging from abnormal heart rates to heart attacks. Injected drugs can also lead to collapsed veins and infection of the blood vessels and heart valves. Causes vomiting and abdominal pain. Causes the liver to work harder, causing significant damages and liver failure. It causes seizures, stroke, and widespread brain damage like loss of memory that can only affect the aspect of your life daily. There are other behavioral problems which are aggressiveness, hallucination, addictions, impulsiveness, loss of self-control. Furthermore, most pregnant women who use these hard drugs may risk losing their babies. Some of the negative effects it has on the mother and the baby are: it can cause the baby to be born underweight, premature labor, birth defects, behavioral problems. Now, can drug abuse be treatable? The good news is that drug abuse is treatable, but it's not as simple as it sounds because addiction is a chronic disease. People can't possibly stop using drugs for a few days and be cured. Now, what are the treatments for drug addictions? There are lots of options, which includes behavioral counseling, medications, medical devices and applications used to treat withdrawal symptoms, treatment for depression and anxiety, long-term follow-up to avoid relapse. Drug abuse is not said to be only when you are on hard drugs, but even when you consume medications wrongly or not following the doctor's prescription, you are on the path to abusing drugs. According to Susan Shiver, addiction isn't about substance. You aren't addicted to the substance, but to the alteration of mood that the substance brings. Be warned. We have come to the end of today's episode of Healthy Living. Keep watching Television Nigerian. I am Diana Odra.
And for that package of healthy living, you're still watching Daybreak Nigeria, and we're reaching you live from Kuzapi Hills in Abuja, Nigeria, wherever you're watching from. Now, moving ahead is our art, life, and style segment. Now, one of the things that ladies don't toy with is their hair. Why? Because probably because, the woman's hair is her crown, and so they try as much as possible to make sure that the crown on their head is always dashing, fabulous, fantastic. For reasons, well, I wouldn't know, but I'm sure they know. So in this segment, Uchechi Nlemuwa takes us into the world of hairstyle, but I think her focus is on, you want to find out? Let's join her.
Like clothes, shoes, and other fashion accessories, Nigerian hairstyles have evolved through the years. With the Nigerian fashion industry growing so fast, hairstyles have become a fashion statement. Nigerian women wore their hairstyles in afro, mask, puff-puff, and the likes. It is TVN Arts, Life and Style. I am Uchechi Nlemuwa, and we will be looking at hairstyles for Nigerian women. For Nigerian women, hairstyle is much more than self-perception. It is a medium of self-expression and helps to build confidence among their folks. Nigerian hairstyles have recently been recognized in the foreign sense. These styles have become a source of income to the hairstylist and also a fashion trend. Back in time, Nigerian women would rock their hair in Afro style, leaving the hair to stand all coiled up and kinky. Where like every other trend, these styles are finding their ways back. Younger women and older ones alike are beginning to embrace Afro. Even on the runway, this Afro kinky style is showcased with the aims of promoting the beauty of the African woman. Whether packed in a bun, left out, or styled in a specific way, this style appreciates the Nigerian woman's hair. However, in choosing hairstyles, you may like to consider the following African hairstyles. Amazing! Well, that's the much we have for you today. Thank you for being part of this edition.
It is present.
All right, thanks a great deal there, Uchechi. That was a nice one. Okay, and of course you know that the hair can be something that the women will do anything for to make sure that it's nice for them. And I remember those days I was trying to choose my wife. I looked at her hair. You're still watching Daybreak Nigeria. Moving ahead now, we're going to the streetwise segment. Now, when you're in the street, a lot of things can just come up, and someone can just pop the microphone to you and say, "Do this for me." You can be caught unawares, and by so doing, you could stumble even when you actually knew what to say. Well, in this segment of Streetwise, someone was asking someone to spell something. Did the person get it right? You want to find out. And then one of the terrible, mind-blowing questions. You wake up one morning and your wife tells you, those 4 kids in the house that you've been pampering, taking to London, Dubai, and all of that, they don't belong to you. What you gonna do? Let's find out what people have to say on Streetwise.
Hey, we now come again for another better segment from TVN Streetwise. Now me una girl Stephanie Zenith from Obudo Television Nigeria. Alpha.
Good morning.
How you been now?
Fine.
Fear me spell corruption.
Okay. C-O L-O C-A.
Is that how you were? Spell corruption.
Yes. C-U. No, C-O-R-U. P-T-I-O-N. Corruption.
Your final answer be that?
Yep.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
What you go do if your wife tell you say the children wey dey your house now, the children wey you think say you born no be your children?
My wife, where I'm married with my money, tell me say children wey dey my house no be my own.
You are asking me. Continue.
That's all the children, no be even one.
Oh.
Hi. First of all, I will be diplomatic by taking the children to take a DNA test.
If I marry a wife and they come and tell me, say, all of a sudden, maybe we'll have one crisis or the other, and he says that they are no longer my children. Of course, it is abomination. And for that kind of a woman, you have to give her a red card. Because it doesn't deserve to be a wife.
Well, I don't imagine what will come to my mind. If I haven't gotten an answer yet, if my wife were to tell me that, well, you know, like they say, God forbid, my wife will not tell me that. But if she does, like that guy said, we'll do some DNA tests and all of that. After that, we'll take it up from there. Well, you're still watching Daybreak Nigeria, and it's coming to you live from television, Nigerian. And of course, I'm your anchor person in Internet Bank for today. Now, up next, Super Falcons coach invites 11 home-based players to camp. These and more in the world of sports with Emmanuel Idoko. Take it from there.
Welcome to TVN Sports Update. Super Falcons head coach Thomas Dennerby has cut the number of home-based professionals in camp for the 11th Women African Cup of Nations finals holding in Ghana. The team has been training at the impressive Jubilee Chalice and Resorts, Ekpe, in Lagos State. The Suede, who graciously allowed the players to feature for their respective clubs in the Nigerian Women's Professional League at the weekend, recalled a handful of those he feels can give the invited overseas-based professional players a good fight for places in the final squad as Nigeria aimed to retain her continental title and claim the trophy for the 9th time in 11 championships. Among those retained in the camp for the second phase campaign, which will commence immediately, are 4 goalkeepers: Tochukwu Oluehi, Chiamaka Nnadozie, Christy Ohieraku, and Onyinyechi Okeke. Others are Anam Imo, Rashida Ajibade, Peace Efi, Glory Ogbonna, Chioma Wogu, Alex Ogebe, Amarachi Okonkwo, and Chidima Okeke. Also retained are Ogochi Emenayo, Sarah Nnodim, and Neka Julius. Super Eagles technical advisor Garnet Rowe has again left out captain Mikel Obi from next month's crucial 2019 African Cup of Nations qualifier against South Africa after they named a 23-month squad for the encounter. China-based Mikel Obi, who made his debut for the country in 2005, has not played for the team since the World Cup in Russia in June, where he led as captain. Officials have said the former Chelsea star was previously left out of the squad to allow him time to recover from his knee injuries, but he has since fully recovered and is now playing regularly for his Chinese club. In the meantime, Rowe has recalled Sporting Chariot striker Victor Osimhen and midfielder Mikel Agu, who is based in Portugal. Villarreal young forward Samuel Chukwueze has been handed his first call-up. Nigeria plays South Africa in Johannesburg on November 17 in a crucial qualifying encounter. The country's national team top Group E with 9 points from 4 matches, a point ahead of second place South Africa. Julian Lopetegui has been sacked by Real Madrid after a terrible start to the 2018-2019 season culminated in a shocking loss against their arch rivals Barcelona on Sunday. Barca were good value for their victory even without club captain Lionel Messi pulling the strings in the final third as Luis Suarez grabbed a hat-trick in between strikes from Felipe Coutinho and Arturo Vidal. Marcelo made the scoreline 2-1 just after halftime, but the late flurry from the hosts made sure the 3 points, which has left Madrid sitting in the 9th position in the La Liga table, 7 points ahead behind leaders Barca. Lopetegui has been under pressure for weeks now, and having won just one of their last 7 matches in all competitions, the board has finally decided to act by terminating his contract. The 52-year-old boss was appointed as Madrid's new manager just before the World Cup back in June, which cost him his position as Spain's head coach for the tournament. That is TVN Sports Update. Thanks for watching. I am Idoko Emmanuel.
Thanks a great deal, Emmanuel, there with the sports update on TVN this morning, talking about the breakfast show. Well, Emmanuel's segment brings us to where we'll draw the curtains on the show for today. I'm sure you had a nice time with us, but I do promise you, if you did not tomorrow, you certainly will be. So if you join us from 7 o'clock up until 9 o'clock, you certainly have a fantastic 2 hours on television. We'll be back with these and many more on Daybreak Nigeria come tomorrow. My name is Nten Ekpan. Will I be here tomorrow? I won't tell you until you join us. So until then, do enjoy the rest of our programs. On behalf of all members of the production team, Charles, the producer, and every other person at the back end, it's saying bye-bye. All right, everybody come around.